Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Liz Bishop. Day 3 of the trial of a man accused of physically abusing his young son to death. Gary Waite is accused of killing his 15-month-old son. The Glens Falls man claims he threw Jesse Smith onto the sofa last year when the baby wouldn't stop crying, and that the child bounced off and hit his head on the floor. The child did die a short time later, and today the investigator who took the defendant's statement took the stand and says that there were inconsistencies. Pat Bailey is live outside the Warren County courtroom now to fill us in further. Pat, what happened in court today?
Well, as that Glens Falls investigator testified today that Gary Waite gave two different statements to two different officers when he was questioned about his son's death. And they say it wasn't until the second time that Gary Waite admitted to picking up the child and throwing him against the couch. And they say after he admitted that is when Mr. Waite was arrested, the second statement. Now, the investigator testified today that Waite initially told them 15-month-old Jesse Smith was on the couch and he fell off by himself. The investigator said Waite then told him the toddler got up and started walking across the room, but then fell again and hit his head on his own. Then, according to the investigator, Waite was interviewed a second time by police, and it wasn't until that they questioned his story based on the toddler's injuries that Mr. Waite admitted that he picked up the child and threw him against the couch. And again, it wasn't until that second statement that Mr. Waite was arrested. Now, Mr. Waite's attorney, Mark Zuckerman, questioned the investigator today when he was on the stand, and he really had two complaints. Number one, he was concerned about the fact that Mr. Waite had to give two statements. He questioned the investigator why, and the investigator said, quote, because of the inconsistencies. And the second concern he had is why there was no video or audio surveillance or no video or audio recording of the investigation and the interrogation of Mr. Waite. And the Glens Falls police investigator said that it was not their policy. He says, in fact, he can't remember any time in his 24 years that he ever recorded an interrogation before. But Mr. Waite's attorney very upset about that, saying that the best testimony and the best investigation would have come if it was on tape and the jury would have been able to see it. Instead, Mr. Waite's attorney argued that now he has to go from a second-hand source saying that 3 officers investigated him and interviewed him, and that there was too many inconsistencies with his statements, and that's why, because he had to give it so many times. Now, according to the DA here today, Kate Hogan, several police officers are expected to take the stand. One was that Glens Falls investigator. He was on the stand this morning. They're talking about possibly another break here for lunch, and then afterwards, again, more police officers expected to take the stand. And we'll have much more on this coming up tonight at 5 and 6 as we continue to follow this trial here in Queensbury. For now, live in Warren County, Pat Bailey, CBS 6 News.
All right, Pat, thanks very much. And a Washington County man who police say killed his infant son will be in court in just over an hour.